Now, I created a video of the outside of my property and what I came up with for the design concept. Now, we're going to talk about the design of the house. Now, I did go inside 28 by 28. I thought that was a economical size to suit all my needs and to keep it an even number for the lumber. Not realizing that it was going to be 29 by 29 because you have the outside walls. So I'm not a professional architect design, but that's what I came up with. Now I know the more peaks and angles you have, the more difficult it is. So I went with like a salt pot look or something. So I did the straight up and down and angled. So the other thing is I have HOA rules and regulations. So part of the rules and regulation is in order to have a house less than 2,000 square feet on your property, it has to have an attached barn. So that is considered my attached barn. So the little room right there is considered the tack room, which let me show you. There's always ways around rules and regulations. And technically someone could use it like this, but right now I don't have a horse, so this is not how I'm going to use this this room. So this would be the tack room. So if you really want to use this as an attached barn, here's a tack room. We had to have firewalls because if it's a barn, it needs to have firewall proof. But how I'm using it is my workshop. So here's all my tools that I use and all the extra decorations that I have that I don't have a space for or are seasonal. And I had these shelves built up there to store seasonal items or different little things that I don't want in the house, because this is a kind of a tiny home. And here's my washer. I'm all about going back to the basics, little house on the prairie living. So I hang out all my clothes on the fence. So I didn't get a dryer, but I have the power for the dryer and the vent for the dryer for a stackable washer and dryer. But I didn't need it myself. So this would be the tack room, grain room, but I using it as my workshop and it's working out great. And this area would be like the run-in shed for the animals. My intention would be, if I wanted to keep my animals in here, I would put a fence going right across here. I'd probably store some of the hay and grain right here. And you would just get up in the morning, throw your hay in here, and it's the south, so it's hot. So you want cross breezes and you don't want a closed-in environment because it gets too warm. So they can go in and out as they choose. I have the skylights up here to have nice light in, and I have the lats walls so the breeze could blow through. So this would be a great place to have 1 or 2 horses, or little animals, goats, sheep, whatever. So this was to accommodate the HOA things. Oh, I had them put this shelf up here and put all the the condenser and stuff out here. I didn't want it on the ground, and I figured it'd be protected from the elements, yet all the air flow. So I had that happen. So that's that. So another thought process I had is, considering this as a barn in foul weather, you don't have to go out in the elements. So you come out this door, you are covered with the wraparound porch, you walk right in here, throw the grain in, and go back in the house. And you can do it in your pajamas, and you can take all of 2 seconds. My animals run free, so there's little Walnut, and there's little Oreo, and they like to follow Mom. And if I leave the door open, they'll follow me in the house. Another thing to deal with the HOAs, rules and regulations. Are you kidding me? I just planted those, and look at those 2 little hellions. They're eating it. Look at that. They ripped it out of the ground. So this would be the run-in for the animals, and then I have this area that if you had animals, you could put your hay here. I'd put a gate right here, and your wheelbarrow and your tools and stuff like that. So technically this would work really, really well for a attached barn. There's Oreo, come to say hi. Hi, sweetie. So, okay, now let's go on. Actually, we don't want to go inside yet. There's more things to show you. So I considered the cross breeze. So as you can, I think you can see, if you look right through, the windows are lined up. So the wind goes right through here. And I love it when you can see through a house. You know, I like that you can sit here and you can see outside there. So this window is lined up with the windows over there and the window over there. So we have a cross breeze. So I did do a cross breeze. Maybe we should go in the front of the house. And enter. Same thing here. These two windows open and it cross breeze is right there. Oh, so there is my dragon who looks out for the house. Oh, I did so on architect construction, I had to go with a narrow door here, and I didn't put the lanterns on either side of the door because there's not enough room really. It would be kind of cramped. And my other concern is I have a lot of older friends, and I didn't want the door over here and have someone kind of fall off this little edge. So I decided to go with a narrow door, and I put the lanterns right here because then this is where you're going to sit, and I thought it'd be nice and cozy, have a little fire. So that's why I did with that. And that's why the front door is really narrow, but my side door is 36 inches wide. You want to make sure you have a wide door to bring your furniture in. But the front door, I went narrow, and I went 8 feet because the ceiling starts at 10.5 feet. So if you had a regular door, it would look small. And this from the posts are like 8 foot. So it's 8 foot from here to here. And then it's 6 feet over, and that goes to 10.5 feet. So I went with 8 foot door, narrow, and I kind of like that look because it looks really, tall. Now this is mahogany. Now this is what you're greeted with when you walk in. Again, what I thought of is my views. Where are my sight lines? What am I looking at, and what am I going to see? So the first thing I knew was that is the bedroom. And I organized it so there would be a nice piece of antique furniture with a picture and a light. So when you walked in, that is what you saw. So anything that's put there is always going to stand out. So I did that, and especially when you have a light on it. And at the moment, mountain lions, 2 of my guardians are a mountain lion and a black panther. And so that mountain lion reminds me he's looking over the house. And then in the living room, what's your focal point? And my focal point is the window seat. And then over the kitchen, what is your focal point? It's the stove in the window. Now, my house is currently set up, lived in. I didn't run around and clean it. This is exactly the day of how I'm living into the house. So my parents are on their way over. So I have a stew cooking. That's the water I drink every day. Let's see what else I have left out. I have a lot of food today because my folks are coming. So I got some, homemade baked muffins and more fruit. So more food than normal is here. And I like to sit here and work on my computer. So this is lived in. This is what it looks like when it's lived in. Now, the thought process on this house design was kind of like tiny living. So it's 28 by 28 and also retirement living. So I have a downstairs bedroom and a downstairs bathroom. So technically I can live all down here, and I have a loft that's a replica of the downstairs, which is, that could be enclosed in for another bedroom, but I wanted it open. You have your closet and your bathroom. So when I have guests, I can put them up there, but I actually tend to put them in the main bedroom because I sleep over here. This little idea came from, I went on vacation with my husband to the islands, and we had these little cabins, and we had a king size bed, and then it had this window seat with these, really huge curtains. Now I require only 5 hours of sleep and my husband needs 10. So this was great. I would just go in there, read a book, close the curtains, and I could stay up for hours without disturbing him. So I knew that I was going to design this in my house. And this technically is the third bedroom. And I mean, it's the third bedroom and the sunroom. So you're surrounded by windows with a cross breeze. So when you're sleeping at night, you look up and you see the stars and you feel like you're outside with the fresh air, and it's like heavenly. I was going to have a hanging starlight, but I didn't want to distract from the view. So I decided to put a starlight in the ceiling that twinkles. And then I have the chain there that you can just pull on it when you go to bed to shut it off. But there's also a light switch over here that is on a dimmer. The best thing are dimmers. So this light can be really bright if you're reading, or really dim if you're watching a movie. You decide, kind of thing. And I really, really like that. Now, with a tiny home, what makes it feel huge is tall ceilings. So that's what I have going on here. So in this living room, you don't feel like it's small living room kitchen because of the tall ceilings and the huge windows. These are, I think, 6 by 5. I think they're 6 by 5. And this window over here, this huge living room, I think is 6 by 6. So having the huge windows make it seem way bigger than what it is. Now, the other thing is, I could have gone with an island, but I decided not to because I didn't want a dining room. Technically, if this was not going to be a small house, you would probably have the kitchen, and then you would have the dining, and then you would have the living room. So I wanted to go smaller, so I didn't allow enough space here to put dining. I decided to have like an old-fashioned prairie house kitchen. It's actually kind of like cottage type kitchen. So I have the old-fashioned farm table. And now that I have it, oh my God, I love it. I absolutely love it. I have electric in the concrete floor. I allowed for that in case someone in the future wanted to put an island here. You have the power. I also put an outlet here on the floor, and I put one over there on the floor. And the reason being is I didn't quite know how I was going to organize the living room furniture. And this allows me to have like 2 chairs and a table with a lamp, and then I can plug in the lamp in the floor without having wires run all over the place. So I did do that. Now, the kitchen, from door to corner is 11 feet, and from here to from this door is 11 feet. So that's 11 feet of counter, which is quite a lot. And we had Thanksgiving here, and you can have 2 to 3 cooks working in here fine. One can work here, one can work here, and one can work here. And plenty of counter, plenty of space to work. Now, I do live like cottage, not cottage, simple, slow living is the way I am, and I like to go back to the basics. So I pretty much shop for my food and have only fresh food. So I did not need a huge refrigerator like most people have. I have this little wine thing, and it works perfect. And I have no problems. And if you go to my home in New Hampshire, it's like the refrigerator is empty. I also don't need a pantry because I eat whole food. I don't need to have all that processed box crap in storage. So I don't have a pantry, but I did allow for this. So you could put a refrigerator and a pantry here. They also have the pull-out refrigerators, cabin height, that could go in an island here. So I did allow for that. And I also don't have a dishwasher. I just wash my dishes, but I did put a 2-foot cabinet here so someone could take that out and put in a dishwasher. So I did consider these things for the future. The other thing is I do not need a huge stove. So I went with a RV size. So it's 2 feet wide versus the 2.5 feet wide. So it's perfect. You can still put a turkey in there, which we did, and you have the 4 burners and it works great. There's no sense in having this huge monster stove when you only use like 1 burner and 1 oven. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just like excessive. I do not like upper cabinets because I feel like it makes the room seem smaller. And I'm a minimalist, so I only have what I need. So everything that I use daily is right there. You grab it, you grab your dish, you're cooking, you grab it all, it's right there. And I actually have empty cabinets because I only use what you need. We have gadgets for this and that, and frankly, you don't need all those things. Now, this little unit I designed, and the reason I did it the way it is because I don't like too much clutter. And if this was open, like open shelving, you would see all the stuff here and there, and it would be too cluttery for me. So I wanted like sides to it. And yet I didn't want it to be, come straight down and come into the counter area. So I had it angled. And I also thought about everything that was going to be on it. So it was designed exactly for what I knew I was going to have. I knew, the bowls and the plates and the coffee mugs and the glasses. And then these up here are the things that my husband used. So they're high up. I could barely reach them, but he's tall, and so he can reach them. And they're, the things that he uses. And so the big things can go up there. They're 12 feet. And then I think that one's 8. And then I did like a 6-foot shelf there for coffee mugs. And then I didn't want a shelf to go across here because I knew I wanted my knives handy I could grab. And sometimes I have a little lamp here, but these are all my herbs. So when you're cooking, you just pick them off the little pot and you just throw them in your food. So you have fresh herbs as you cook. So that was a purposely designed unit that I really like. And again, so if you come on this side, it just, for open shelving, it makes it not so cluttery. So that's why I really like that design. The other thing when designing the kitchen, I took stock of everything that I use and everything that I have. And every drawer was purposely made for the item that was going to be stored in it. So here's my stove. On the right-hand side, on this end, I have my pots and pans. So they're 2 big, deep drawers. So there's where my pots and pans go. And this one has like the blender and the bigger things that you use. As you can see, they're practically empty. And then for my utensils, I knew I had this table that had this drawer, so all my utensils are right here, so I didn't need one. But I also have a utility, your spatulas and those kind of things right here. This technically is my pantry, which has those of my soap making things and not much in there. They're actually all like my herbs and making things like that going there. But cutting boards, pot holders, this one's empty and that one's empty. And then on this side, my husband built this. This is awesome. So everything's right and handy. So spice rack. So you're cooking, you have your spices right here, all my little measuring tools. And then this is all kind of like storagey items. And down here again is my bowls and storage items, like glassware to put leftovers in. But I literally made a cabinet according to what I had. So over here is glasses, and here are extra plates and stuff. And the other thing is we all need a coffee bar, and you want it to be handy. So for my tiny home coffee station, we have this hot tap, love, love, love. And I have this pull-out spice thing that I use it for my coffee station. So, you can grab your cup from here, or we have extra cups down in there. You have the hot tab, you have your milk or cream, and here is where all my spices are. So, I mean, excuse me, not spices. It's a spice rack, but it has all my teas. So this is used for all my coffees and tea and honey. So someone can come over here and fix themselves a drink and not really be in the way of someone cooking. Now, I like antiques and old things. And I like to, simple living, recycle, those kind of things. So everything that you see here is used. Gotten at an estate sale, a yard sale, or I thrifted. And I like old things. So if you want something that's old to look like it fits in, like this is so cool. This old bag. I remember this as a kid. You get your tin foil and your saran wrap and your paper towel. And then this is where I put all my tinctures, the ones that I'm using. So I had a little bit of cold, so my echinacea. This is sleepy and castor oil. And then like my pill box. But the things that I want to put in my coffee in the morning, I put those up there, the ones I'm using all the time. The other ones are down, stored in here. But I painted it the same color as the wall. And when you have too many busy things, it just doesn't look good. So the other thing I did, because this is small space, I did color drench. So the trim, the walls, and the ceiling are all one color. This whole area is one color, and that is just because it's small and you don't want it too busy. So so I picked up that at Goodwill, and then this is some high school kids project. And so again, I just painted it the color of the walls, distressed it a little bit, and I actually think it's quite cute, The artwork, you get it printed from Etsy. I picked up the frame from Goodwill and I just plopped it in there. And sometimes it doesn't quite fit and you just cut the artwork smaller. It's like, it costs you like, I don't know, $15 for, a piece of artwork. The same thing with these two pictures over here. I printed them off from Etsy, and these frames, they were someone's dog. They must have passed away. And so they were thrown at Goodwill, and there's boots. And there is, I don't have my glasses on. I think it says Ginger? No. Yeah, Ginger. So, so there's Boots, Crow, and there's Ginger. I like crows, obviously because I'm witchy. And then this plant over here is echinacea, and that is my ally plant, echinacea. So the other thing is I am not one for tile. I don't know why. I just don't care for tile in the kitchen. I feel like tile is for the bathroom. And so I use beadboard for the backsplash. I have it in my other house. I don't know why. I just prefer wood. I think it's maybe got country look or something, but I don't like tile. I also just love big windows. So designing the house, my consideration was my view. So I'm sitting here at the sink and I'm looking out to my beautiful property. And again, I can easily even look over and check on my animals and look at the barn. And with the stove, I'm looking over the greenhouse, which is beautiful. And then I have my bird feeders and my bird baths all over here so I can watch the birds as I cook, which I really enjoy. Now, in this room is the bathroom, which you don't really like having right off the kitchen. So what I did was kind of make it look like it could be the new thing with butler's pantry. So I didn't want a cabinet, like a typical bathroom cabinet. If I didn't have the medicine cabinet above and just use the cabinet, it would probably look like a butter, I can't even pronounce it. Butler's pantry. But I wanted to have a really like a nice view looking into the bathroom. Like you wouldn't want the toilet right there. So you look in, you see this, beautiful sink that I designed and have custom made. Now, when you hear me say custom made, and when you watch these videos that say custom made, you think ching, 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 a lot of money. Well, guess what? That ain't true. I had the counter people, make that. So that whole unit, I mean, it's a little pricey. It cost $1,000, but if you buy a cabinet with a counter, with a faucet and all that stuff, you're looking at it, you know, $1,000. So this was custom made and it cost me $8,000 to have, it's granite, it's made out of granite, which looks like soapstone, but it's made out of granite. And I got so lucky. I found this antique medicine cabinet in an antique store and I just loved it. And again, you think antique medicine cabinet, oh, that's expensive. No, it's not. It was maybe $150, which is no different than buying a medicine cabinet. So it's the same price. So don't think antique or custom means expensive. It's all this, they try to make it seem like it's expensive, but it's really not. And this door right here, I hate a new house looking new, so I brought in old things. So this door I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I kept the original hardware, which is the antique hardware, which I just loved, just to make the house not seem new. So here's the view from this angle. Now this is the side door that I enter in the most. It's the one that goes to the garage, and I made a parkway that most likely I'm going to park my car here. So in my thought design on designing the house is you walk in with your bags. What do you need? You need to lay down your bags. So I can either lay them down here, or I can lay all my groceries right here on the table. And then the other thing was hanging your keys and your coat. So everything's right here and handy. Now I had to think about what way to have the door swing. Technically, I think most people would have probably put the handle over here and opened it up. But the reality, I thought, is for a tiny home, this right here is considered my mudroom. So you really want the door to open this way because you're going to grab the keys, you're going to, you know, run outside, you can grab your coat. And obviously, when you have a little mudroom, you want a seat to sit down, to put on your coat, or put on your shoes. Well, there's my seat. So I can sit right there, put on my shoes, you know, hang up my coat, get my keys, open the door, and run out. And the other thought when I decided what way the door is going to swing was the use of that door. And the reality is you're going to run in the house and you need to go to the bathroom. It's right there. And I don't have to worry about, you know, walking through the house or walking around the door. You just run right in. And then the other reason why I had to put the door this way opening was the electric panel. You can't have an electric panel behind a door because if the house was on fire, the fireman needs to be able to find the electrical panel. And if he ran into the house and opened the other way, he would have to shut the door in order to get to the electrical panel. So hence the door opened this way. These are all the things you need to think about when you are designing your house. So again, thinking about how this door was going to be opened, I thought when I open the door, I want to go into the kitchen. I'm not going to want to go running to the laundry room. And I also hang up my daily coat over here. So I wanted to be able to walk straight that way. So I had the door opening this way. And also having the cabinet right here, if I had it open the other way, I wouldn't be able to open the door all the way because it would hit this cabinet. And I wanted, sometimes I like to open the door all the way and put a little weight right there on the floor because it's a beautiful day. You want the fresh air, let all the fresh air come in. So that allows me to open the door fully. So that's why I chose it to open this way. As far as design with the doors, I specifically looked for a door that had the opening, this glass opening that lined up with the windows and the counter. So this kind of almost gives you the illusion that the kitchen's bigger. So, because this almost looks like it's cabinet counter with the kitchen. Let's see if I can get a better angle over here. Okay, there you go. So both doors, it's kind of like all of this is kitchen with the windows. So it's just a little illusion factor that I considered. So it took me a while to find the exact door that was going to be 8 foot tall with the opening light, the light opening at 3 feet. So what you think is what you get, and lo and behold, I got that. And I always like to have a mirror near the door as I run out. So you can just take a quick look at yourself to make sure you don't have a booger hanging out and you can run out the door. So I have this mirror here. Now over here, I really didn't have any space for a mirror because I have hanging my coats and stuff and the keys. And then on this side, it's kind of kitchen. It's not like you want a mirror there. So I was trying to figure out how I can get a mirror. And then it dawned on me, well, there's my mirror. The bathroom. So I just look in that mirror and I am all set. So the design concept on the stairs. I didn't want to have a whole bunch of spindles because it's a small house and I just thought it'd be too busy. And I didn't really want that black modern look either because this is kind of like a cottagey, modern cottage style house, I would say. So I opted for the glass, which I'm really, really liking, and it looks great to me. And the other thought was the stairs. Typically, you design them and you just run them right down straight like this. But my thought process was coming down these stairs, what is your view? You're always thinking about your view. Well, your view is going to be like the coats. And, you know, that's not the best of view right here. So I wanted to have it where you come down the stairs and then you turn and you're walking right into the kitchen, you know? And so how much nicer is that to have this come right down the stairs and you walk into the kitchen? And the other concept I was thinking is if you were having a party, two people can sit right here and, you know, people can be cooking in there and it's a very comfortable seat. And the other thought process I had is if you notice the bottom one is the stair is rounded. I'll tell you what, the carpenters hated me for this little feature, but the reason I did that is I know dang well I was going to stub my toe right there. I was like, I can just see it happening every day. So I insisted on this as much as they moaned and groaned and complained. They did do it, and it was kind of a joke, but I'm very happy that I did this. I was actually kind to them and I said, you don't have to round that one. Because I knew this was going to be an issue for my little toes. So I am glad I did that. Also on the stairs, to add detail, I had them put that little piece of trim underneath, and that just adds a little more wood warming detail. And as you can see, that little piece of wood, I really like that look. So I had them do that. I'm just trying to see what else I did with the stairs. Oh, so the ceiling height over here is 10.5 feet. The peak is 20 feet up there. Now, another consideration, I wanted detail, so I wanted beams on the ceiling. As you can see, I have all these beams in the ceiling. Trying to figure out how many beams and where to put them. So that was a bit tricky. And then how thick and how wide and so on and so forth. So I decided on these beams over here are 6 by 6. The one up there is 8 inches because I figured the bigger, you know, I wanted to tie in and I wanted a little wood on the bottom. I think that's what it would look classical, but frankly, I don't even know. And then the ones on the wall, since the staircase is only 3 feet wide and, you know, it's a tiny house, having a 6 inches pop into the staircase would be kind of in the way. So I had them go half the distance and we went 3 inches here. So it's like it's built into the wall. Now I decided, you would think that these are evenly spaced. They are not. It drove the other people crazy. And the reason for that is I did not want this one landing halfway between a stair and having it like halfway. I wanted it to completely land on one staircase. So we had to shift it a little bit. And then on this beam, I wanted it to line up with the edge of the window, like that opening thing. So I literally thought about these things because on the scheme of things, you're not going to notice that they're 2 or 3 inches off. But you would notice if that was not quite right here, and you would notice it wasn't quite right on the staircase. And the other thing I did is this whole wall, let's see if I can back up and give you a much better look. Now, the reason I put that beam going across right there is because the wall is kind of blank, you know, and it was just like, it would just be not interesting. So I asked the builder to put that beam going across here, but yet I didn't do it on the other side, which he's like, don't you want to copy it? And I'm like, no, because the other side has that big window. So you don't have to be completely symmetric. And if you want a house to feel organic and antique, you want these mismatchy things like they kind of evolved in the future. So as you can see on this side, I don't have that beam. There was room to put it across, but you already have the focal point of the window seat, so you don't need that beam. It would be too cluttery over there. So it's better to not always be symmetrical. It looks fantastic over here, and had I done it over there, it would not look right. The other thing is, so I did have the beam coming down here. He mentioned, why don't we put one down here? I'm like, no, because it's right here. You wouldn't want, that wouldn't be right. So I didn't have a beam going down, and then we had the beam down here, and obviously the beam there. So with the small house, you want your eye to go up because that's where all the space is. So my husband put these 2 pieces of lat, well, actually there's 4, one here, 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 and here. Now we mimicked the stair railings. So your eye kind of gets drawn up into the loft and into all that space. So it makes the room seem bigger. So that's why we had done that. Let's see what else we can talk about in the living room here. Oh, now I had picked up these pink chairs. There's one there and there at an estate sale for like $100. And they're slip covered and they're very comfortable high-end chairs. Now, I am not a pink kind of girl, and I've been fighting these pink chairs, but I knew they were going to be the chair for this house. And finally, the little light bulb came on, is because I was going to do a gallery wall over here, kind of to balance out this china cabinet. But once I did a couple pieces of art, it was too busy. So I got rid of the gallery wall. And so within the gallery wall, I was trying to find artwork that would pull in these pink chairs. And lo and behold, my hero flower, which is echinacea, which is right here, pink and orange. And I'm like, oh, now I love my pink chairs because they remind me of my hero flower, echinacea. And so it's funny because now I have these pink chairs with this orangey colored wood that reminds me of my flowers. And the reason I call her my hero plant is she came to me in my dreams and told me to harvest her roots because her medicine was in her roots, and that I needed to do that and whatever. So the fact that she came and talked to me in my dreams, you know, she's my hero. Now the thought process for this bump out window. I definitely wanted a cross breeze, and I wanted to have the view of my barn, and then I can have the view of my greenhouse. Now, my builder wanted to push the bump out 3 feet, and I originally said 2, and we compromised in 2.5. And the reason for that is because the wind blows this way. So I did want these windows to open so we get a nice breeze, you know, blowing through. But the other concern I had was my deck. If I'm sitting here and the bump out was too much, it might block the wind. Granted, I have the 2 windows that open and cross it through, but I wasn't quite fully thinking, but I didn't want to be sitting here and have the bump out intrude on my view to be looking at my animals. Now, granted, I didn't force think and realize I have 2 windows going across here, and my view would not have been obscured by having it pop out 3 feet. But I'm glad we compromised in 2.5 because it's just enough to, you know, get this table in here and feel like extra space, but not too much that when you're sitting on the porch, you feel like you get this big things sticking out. Now with a small house, every inch counts. So instead of having him build me 2x4 walls with sheetrock, I had it built with wood. I said, I can't waste any of that space because every storage space underneath here is vital. So underneath here, I have extra storage, you know, cleaning supplies, or this, I just have baskets, and a lot of it is like stuff for making canned things. So if you notice, this is just thick wood that was used for the wall. So this is all wood and not the 2x4 wall structure. And then on this end part, I had him build a coat closet. So every space is utilized. So I can have my vacuum cleaner, and I knew I was gonna have my vacuum cleaner in here. So I had them install an outlet down there so I could plug it in. So these are things you need to think about. Now I have this automatic light thing that right here, and also has it with a switch. Now I hate this automatic light. As you can see, I have this over it because it glares right in your eyes. So if I had to redo it, I would not have the automatic light and just have the switch. So, you know, you make mistakes, but I have a great little shelf for my gloves and mittens and my coats. So this works out great. And again, as you can see, it's all wood. Now I couldn't use a regular, well, I could, but I thought ahead. I couldn't really, if I had a regular door, if you open it, you would be blocking off the walkway. So I took bifold doors, used bifold doors, and took them apart, took the hinges off, and made them like French doors. So this way you can open the little door and it's not blocking off anything. So another thing to notice about symmetry and not having symmetry. This is an 8-foot door, and there's the little hobbit door to the bathroom, which is an antique door. Now this difference in height does not bother me. And like the builder wanted the windows lined up with the door, but I wanted the windows at the counter height because I like to have the counters run into the windows, so you have more counter space on the backsplash. So by having these different doors, it's like it evolved over time. It makes it seem more like an antique house. It doesn't look like a new built. And even the height of this door is actually not the same height as that door. So, because the two different doors were different, and the thickness the widths are even different. So, I like that variety versus perfect. You know, it just adds charm. Now, coming up with the height for the backsplash, which I did that wood there, what I ended up doing is, you know, we put in the door, and I said, well, let's just go at the height of the door and have that line run straight across. So that actually worked out in my advantage, except for the only thing it did hinder was, I kind of, get the glare, I kind of didn't want, I thought I might I have a plate rack up there. I thought I might put plates up there, but they're too tall because we lined that line up with the door. So, you know, you don't want your decorative item or your cooking thing going above that. So these work out fine. So it worked out in the end, and I actually am pleased with that look.